You get into positions where no one is better, but no one's worse, and then you just move pieces around, praying for a blunder on your opponent's side. Does that sound familiar? And that's because no one ever taught you how to go from an equal position to slightly better, to way better, to a win condition to a one game. But I will explain my thinking structure and how I go through these phases, forcing my opponent to make blunders, and I will explain you everything move by move, step by step. So let's go. In yesterday's video, I showed you the dynamics between a winning position and a win condition. I really think yesterday's video was one of my most instructive ones ever. That was a very, very good video. A lot to learn. I want to put my bishop here, but then I get hit with bishop g5, so I think I'll play queen to c7 first so that I cannot get pinned. I mean, if he plays that, maybe I still have to play bishop 2. Okay, maybe that was a bit sloppy. Um, so if you don't know what I mean with a winning position and a win condition, in essence, it is that I had a winning position, meaning that I had a extra bishop for 2 pawns, which is obviously winning, but my opponent had 2 passed pawns. That's a win condition. You only have 2 types of win conditions, and in any given position, you should try to have one of them. Um, Either you try to fight for um, a material advance. No, the win conditions, right? The win conditions, you should either strive for a passed pawn, which can be pushed, or strive for a checkmating attack. Those are the only 2 win conditions that exist in chess. So the opening was quite good. We had e4, c6, the exchange, and my opponent played his knight out. Um, Apparently, after this move, I should move my f knight out. I did the opposite knight, but whatever. Then bishop to d3, get the bishop out. He can castle. I do this and c3. So we do transpose. I'm quite sure this was the position that we got. I have to play e6. He can pin me instantly. My opponent didn't do that. I believe that my opponent, I cannot use the engine. That's annoying. My opponent played h3. And I will look what I should do. This is quite a rare but very nice variation. After h3, you have a very unique idea of playing bishop to h5. Our opponent should play something like bishop to f3. And here we have knight going to e4. The point of knight going to e4 is that if he takes and takes, this is a pin and the pawn will pressure, which will force out g4. We can just move. That defends the pawn, by the way, and the knight will have to move. And we just have an awesome position where we have the bishop pair. So you cannot take, you should just develop. And in this position, let me double check. Yeah, in this position, you have the very unique idea of bishop to d6, he will take, and then knight takes. I have never seen this maneuver before to get a knight to d6. That's quite beautiful. And here, the best move for our opponent is something like queen to c2 or knight going to d2. And we will just go for an ID with bishop to g6, and after takes, takes, you develop, we can castle, and we will just try to plant our knight here. One of the best moves is knight to b3. We will just plant the knight on this square and have a very normal composition after. Where we have good pressure here, if you ever kick our knight, you have a lot of holes to jump to. We can still do something like knight to f6 if needed, but this doubled pawn shuts off the light squares perfectly. Our queen could support our knight or support some tactics and combinations here. Other than that, we just have our very standard minority attack if you want it. Develop the queen to support any plan you want. Take open files, semi open files with your rooks, or support pawn pushes with your rooks. And other than that, you just have two disgusting knights. Yeah, this is a very beautiful variation, and it really reminds me of a lot of normal variations where, um, I mean, just a lot of variations like this, and then like the Caracan is always a bit of the same. If I just scroll to some samples of my course, it will usually lead to a lot of the same things, the same plans. Um, Again, we have a weak pawn we're fighting against. We took an open file with our rook. Our rook can activate like this, like that. Don't hang your queen though. We will have pressure on this pawn. If we win this pawn, we have this passed pawn. If we cannot win that pawn, he will have pushed one of these, and then we can start a minority attack against it. We will just activate the rook, activate the other rook, maybe slide it over, get our knight somewhere nice, or just pressure this weakness. It's always a bit of the same in the Caracan. That's the very nice thing. If you just get good experience in this and know a lot of the plans, you don't even have to know all of the variations. Like just this variation, the bishop has to be an ugly pawn. We just go for the same thing. And I already stopped it here apparently because what is there to say here? Just develop, minority attack, castle, try to get your knights to nice squares. Fight against the weak pawn because this knight is misplaced. The pawn should be there. Knight going like this, pawn going here, and the knight rejoining a kingside attack will be the plans for white. It's just knowing some moves, some sharp lines. Other than that, you should only know plans and be comfortable. Like, let's say he develops both bishops. Guess what? We have this. Queen can still defend everything. We go for the same type of setup. We can even gambit the pawn in this variation and almost trap the queen. It's not trapped, but it's close, and now we have awesome pressure. We did give up a pawn, but this knight can join the attack very quickly. We have this awesome pin, which makes sure that he cannot castle. We have tremendous pressure on this knight, which is not supported by the bishop, so we can damage the structure. We have two isolated pawns, but to be fair, we can trade them off if we want, win these pawns. We're so active, and it will be a miracle if white does not blunder a tactic here. If we, by the way, had two moves, right, we could jump in, take this, because that's a pin, by the way, and this will be a fork, and that's already GG. Like, you cannot move the queen. Oh, okay, you do have this move to support the bishop, but then we take the bishop with the rook, and that's already a fork, so you will give up the queen for a rook. A lot of tactics, a lot of pressure. You only have to know a couple of sharp lines in this, and other than that, everything looks the same. If he moves, we can attack the queen again, we can move the knight so that you cannot take it. This is all the same again. Um, just activate piece, bulldoze him, be active, maybe make a pawn break if necessary. It's always the same. I love the Korocom, especially because I also play the semi-Slav, so this looks a lot like the same thing. Um, I love my repertoire. I'm making a course on it, and if you're interested, let me know in the comments. If you learned anything about something, subscribe, and let's go back. My king is safe to go to the center. Okay, so my opponent is just hoping that I blunder something, but um, I don't even see what is blunderable. I could attack the rook, but that's just a one-move threat. You can just develop the knight and your rook is defended. And the point really is that don't make these one move threats. What I do see is that the bishop is now blocked. So I do have a tactical opportunity of g5, only move to take, take, queen takes. I probably have to run. If you check me, I have to run. And everything is well defended, I believe. And if you do this, I can go to d7. And then I was up a pawn, and then I get a piece for 2 pawns. So I have a piece for a pawn, which is again a very winning position. So do I go from a winning position to an even more winning position, but I do weaken my king? So potentially I go to a more winning position, but I have to think about I do give him the win condition of a passed pawn. By the way, I can do this, forcing the knight out and then doing this. With an attack on the queen, an attack on f2, and an attack on the bishop. Let's say the queen moves. I can just take, queen take, and you still defend f2. Um, so here, here. Oh, and then I cannot go to e4. You just take. Okay, yeah, I miscalculated. So I think this is worth it. Take, take, take. Everything is defended. I have to move. You can give me a check. I can again move. You can give me another check and I can just move. Now the queen is hanging, so it has to move. And then I have quite a safe king, a lot of activity, and an extra piece. So you really again have to think a lot about the difference between the winning position and the win conditions. After g5, I go up a piece for a pawn, which is obviously a winning position, but I don't have a win condition yet. And to be fair, I do weaken my king a lot. Which means that if anyone has a win condition in this situation, it is white. If anyone is going to win this game in the first couple of moves, it is white. I did not see that move. So what if I just take? Oh, I cannot. Okay. I will wish to move my queen defending this pawn, but I don't think that is possible. So what if I do this? Just threatening check. I didn't see that move. By the way, I almost have the tactic. Take, take, check. You have to move, and now a king and a queen are aligned, but I don't control d6 to put a bishop there. So I don't take the queen with a check. I would have done this, and then you take my queen, I take your queen, but it has to be with a check. Because otherwise you can just take my rook with a check, and that's losing. I also cannot pin the rook to the king, so I think I just have to move the queen. If you attack me again, I can just go to h, and then your bishop is still trapped. But I would really love to move with a threat, like here with the threat of like check, move. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I do have to move my queen, so let's just do that. And now take, 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 move, check, move. Check, move, queen is hanging, so you have to move, and your rook is way more active, which is annoying. I do have to say, but I also have the threat of check. If you're not careful, I could just defend the pawn so that the bishop will be gone, not even for 2 pawns and a weak king, because that's really the trade-off that I'm making. So I really think he should take. And then I just have to think if I have a check that makes sense, but I don't think so. I can give a check, you move, take, take, move, check, move, check, move, and now I'm preparing check though. So maybe that does make sense. Um That looks like a blunder to me, but I don't know why. Um, I don't know, it feels like a blunder. I can attack the queen, and after it takes, I can still take, and now the bishop supports it. So what if I attack the queen? You go here. Then I have check maybe. Um, so you will have to move, and I don't know. What if I do this so that you have to move? Then I can take with some threats, I would presume, but I don't really see the threats yet. So what if I just do this? You move, I take. Oh, you can just take because of the pin. Ew. I do have check though, but I don't think that works. Um. Oh, by the way, I just have this. That's a free rook. So what about this? You take. I take with a check. Uh, if you move here, I even have bishop pin. So this, and there are a lot of variations, but I think I'm just winning on the spot. So I will use my time to calculate this through because there are a lot of variations. So if I do this, you move your king, I can just do this, and after it takes, um, I mean, I don't know, I can just attack the queen and start a checkmating attack, so that should be fine. And if you take with a check, your queen's hanging, so I can just take. So I think this here, take with a check, you have to move. Um, Attack the queen so that you cannot take with a check because then I can take your queen. Queen will have to move, and I think that's a forced queen trade. I just trade queens, take the pawn, you take back, activate my knight, and to be fair, if I miss the move, he can have it. And that's always the thing. I used quite some time to calculate every variation. If he finds a move that I didn't see, he just outplayed me. Like, that's what chess is about. I calculated everything that I see, and everything works in my favor. If he sees something that I didn't, I mean, fair enough. You cannot be mad because you're outplayed. So, I mean, I didn't at all calculate takes and takes, but I mean, I have check. You will have to move, and um, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's survivable, but it really shouldn't be. Take, check, move. I don't know. Actually, I should have taken more time on that. Yeah, okay, maybe I should have taken more time on that variation. So you took a pawn, I took a rook, you take a piece. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So now, mm, I have check. You have to move. You can do this with an attack on my queen and the rook staring at each other. Maybe I don't want that. So what if I attack your queen? Queen has to move, and I think that's a forced queen trade. I think this is the move. Yes, because if you take with a check, I can just take your queen. If you want to keep this thread going, you have to move the queen here, but then I have takes, takes, and takes. Bishop has to move, and then I could even pin it. And then I have this spin. So I have way too much activity and way too much threats. And that's how you constantly play positionally and also tactically at the same time. I just put my queen active, I put my bishop and my knight active, I put my rook active, and the internet sign of my opponent just went down. Maybe I should pause the video, but I have some more yap to do, so let's do that in a moment. So really, I didn't even calculate all of the variations here, if I'm totally honest. Maybe something like this might work to stop my rook infiltration, but I don't know, I just can't take with a fork, so you will have to take, and after takes and takes, I move, check, move. I think I'm just saving up a lot of material, but this is probably his best try. Fair enough. So you're not threatening a check. What if I just do this and I'm threatening checkmate? You will have to defend it. And then what's next? Like, how do you defend? I do this with a checkmating threat. It's on a light square, so you will have to defend it with a queen. So you will have to do this. Then I have take, take, take. You will have to move. Then I have the pin. Uh, yeah, I don't see how you defend that. And I really think that's the last important move. I think if this works as strong as I think it does, I just win the game on the spot and nothing matters anymore. So I will use practically like 2 minutes because I should be able to put this away in like 3 minutes with 10-second increments. So let's say I play this. What is every possible move you can play? If you play this, I can just take that with the rook. I'm still threatening mate, so you just gave up your knight, and I don't see why. If I do this and you attack my queen, I just have checkmate in one. So the rook cannot move, the knight shouldn't move. So rook here, if you... I mean, you have to move the queen while defending this. So your only options are queen here, but then I have take, king take, I take this, you move, I pin. Um, so that should be totally winning. We traded queens and I won another pawn, so I should be up like 3 pawns. Or the exchange on a pawn or something, and this is weak, so I will win the pawn, and then I have my win condition, which is my passed pawn, remember? So, rook here, how do you defend? If you do this, I can just take, take, take. My knight is hanging though, so if you move, I do have to think about my hanging knights. Huh. I mean, I can always retreat if needed, and I'm up like 3 pawns. So I think this is fine. I don't see a check, which are the most important things to check. Wow, no pun intended, by the way. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm a genius, maybe I'm a moron, but that was not intended to be a joke. So I really expect one of these 3 moves. And I mean, if you do this, I'll just take. Then your bishop will have to move. You could move here. No, because then I have a check, and that's a fork. Um, and if you move here, I just take. If you move here, I just take. So if queen here, I take, and your bishop is just lost. And then I'm up a piece and some pawns and the exchange. And I mean, my position is so winning that probably my win condition will be a checkmating attack and not even a passed pawn. It's always one of those, you know. So if your pieces are incredibly active, his king is incredibly weak, or you're up a lot of material, then you can look for a checkmating attack. Other than that, I would just advise you to get good at endgames and be very comfortable winning only up 1 pawn, because that's the most common win condition, at least in my games. Except with like the Vienna, there I have a lot of checkmating attacks, but in the Caro-Kann and in the Semislav, if you know a bit about my opening repertoire, you know that I go up a lot of 1 pawns and win from there. So I really expect this, by the way. And then after take and take, I could save my knight, but I can also, yeah, so take, take, and I'm up 2 pawns. Now I'm up 3 pawns. If you take my knight, I take your bishop. You take a pawn. Um, can I gambit that pawn just to have open files? I'm not sure. What if I take? Um, take with a check does not make sense. So what if I take now? Because my queen is defended, I don't have to take myself. And now your bishop is quite trapped. I can still take if I want to. You don't have checks, you don't have threats. So if I take, your knight is your bishop is hanging. You take me, I take you. You cannot go to these two or these, so your bishop is still trapped. So actually, I wanted to take just to make sure we trade queens, but I don't have to. I control these. If you take me, I take you, then I still control that with my rook, and your bishop will be trapped because of my knight. So actually, taking is not the best move. And your queen cannot leave because that's still a checkmating threat. So the only way your queen can defend checkmate is if he blunders it to a knight or goes here, but why would you do that in 2 moves? So this is actually a very clean way. I really wanted to take, but then you take, and if I take, you take, I take, you take, and I would have lost an extra pawn. But I don't have to. I can just go up a pawn. Somehow my king is totally safe, by the way, which is disgusting. My queen is well defended, that's not a problem, and this is now hanging, that's attacked, and everything is very controlled. And if you take me, I will just take back, and you still have nothing. Maybe a move with knight to c3 works. I didn't think about that. No, it doesn't. So what I was calculating is queen takes. I obviously have to take the queen back. You can move here with an attack on my rook, so that if I move the rook, you take my knight, I take back, and now this is hanging. But after queen takes, rook takes, knight out. Oh, maybe it works in this variation. So I take a queen, you take here. Um, if I take this, I don't really have a threat, so you can retreat, but then I just take an extra pawn, but then my knight is hanging. But I do have this check. So, wait a minute. If I take, your plan is that you can take. So what if I take, then you take? So what if I take now, you take? Both your bishop and knight are hanging. So I think I take the knight because that's the simplest. If you save your rook, if you save your bishop, I have check, you move, and I take this. So I think I just take the queen just to be sure. You have to take back. And always the most forcing lines are the easiest to calculate. Yeah, so now he resigns. I take the queen, which means that he can only do moves that are worth more than a queen. What's worth more than a queen? Only a king. So sometimes a passed pawn, arguably, but or like a checkmating threat, but I don't have those, I think, yet. So only my king, but you don't have check. So if I take a queen, you have to take back. And now I can just take a knight or take a bishop. The one line is that I take a bishop, then you can take a knight. And I mean, okay, that's bad. So I take the knight first. That's a very common tactic. If you want to take something, but you lose something, think about giving away what you will lose first for something. I think a lot of videos ago, I had a winning ID where I would take something and then he would take a pawn. So I would have to push the pawn first that I would lose anyway, so that he has to capture it in a more awkward fashion and damage his structure for it, and only then do the other exchange. But I mean, that's already a quite vague idea that I got from another video. So if you watch a lot of my videos, subscribe, and you will learn a lot of these nice IDs. We got a 92% game. I only have one inaccuracy. Damn, we played a disgusting game. We're on fire. Okay, so we go into a Caracan exchange variation. If you know me, I like the Lancrete system here. Bishop d3, knight to c6, c3, knight to f6, fighting for the g5 square. And I always tell you, you're playing a human most likely, so think about what the plan is and stop it if it's strong enough. The plan here is to develop the bishops. We play h3 to stop it, entering the Loncrete system. By the way, the game was equal for quite a long time. That's beautiful. GG to my opponent. It was a beautiful game. So after knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to d3 happened, and it looks a lot like a Loncrete system, except that he played his knight out first and not the h3 pawn, which means that we can just play bishop to g4 now. And if we play e6, our bishop is outside of the pawn chain, which is huge. So he plays c3, still a book move. This is pure theory. Knight to f6, a theoretical move. And h3. I presume I did an opening analysis, so I won't go too deep. But usually you only take if there is a bishop on b5 or a knight on c3. The knight on c3 is because the pawn has to be there, so that means that the d pawn is not stable. So then you keep the spin, and the reason why a bishop on b5 means that you have to take is that if you go back, you can get hit with g4. Bishop g5 is forced, and then he has knight to e5. And because of the spin, you cannot take, and he has pressure on your bishop and your knight. So usually we take because we don't want to allow knight to e5. So here apparently I should have done this, but you only do that with a bishop here or knight here. So I don't know why this is fine. I mean, I guess it's fine because we can take. Oh, and we can take. Now take? No, we just solidify. And now we're in this position. I mean, I guess my knight will be strong on e4 and have nice pressure on the center, and probably I will make a weakness. So I do understand it, but I don't know. I would just prefer to take, to be honest, and now play my e6 ID. And now, yeah, so I wanted to play bishop to d6, but I was quite annoyed with bishop to g5. Obviously, we will have h6, he will retreat, and now I just have to go back. So I don't know why I would do that. I'm always quite happy to play this queen to c7 ID. First of all, the b pawn is weak in a lot of variations. If you get more experience in the Caro-Kann, you will get a feel for it. By the way, imagine something like a knight would somehow teleport to this, then we already have this thread, because after it takes, the bishop is not defend. Oh, the bishop is defended by the rook then, but if something blocks this square, for example, or this, the bishop's hanging, and that means that we already get the tactics. So I love a queen on c7. It defends the weak pawn, it takes control over a lot of dark squares, and it sets up tactics and pressure on the c file. Sometimes your rook will go to c8 and your queen is quite a bit in the way, to be fair. So it's not always perfect, but I always love this idea of queen to c7. So if this happens, I can just duke the pin. You will see that if he played this, probably bishop to e7 is the best move. But this will also be fine because the pin is not there. Yeah, but bishop to e7 is the best move here. But probably it's like the second best move to play knight to d7. Yeah, it's the second best move. So can I go back, please? Thank you. So he played this ID. I will not lie, I don't know why. Maybe his plan was b4, but that would weaken the c3 pawn way too much. I don't understand this ID. Maybe he wanted to stop some knight to b4 tactics, but if knight to b4 works, probably knight to d4 will work as well, unless you have a knight on f3, but there's a queen there, so that's very annoying and misplaced. Um, I don't understand that move. I mean, obviously, I want to do a minority attack, so maybe it makes sense that there is already two pawns defending this, but you have way greater priorities than that. Like, I need one, two, three, four, five moves to land that, and you have four pieces not developed. This is not a priority. You really should develop these two. Maybe make a pawn break, develop the rooks, attack my king. Attack my king because your pawn chain is pointing towards here. So you have all of this space to maneuver your pieces, and my pawn chain is pointing there. That's why we start a minority attack to create a weakness, win the weakness, go up a pawn, make go up a pawn a passed pawn, and now we have a win condition. And that's usually how you win these card compositions. Like these types of setups, you will face 75% of the times. Your plan usually is just develop pieces, castle, win a tempo on a bishop if you can to make a lift for your king so you cannot get back rank checkmated. I usually just start a minority attack because if you get this type of attack and then take, you take back. Now the B pawn is isolated and weak, and the D pawn is isolated and weak, and you have three open files to attack them. So you will probably win the B pawn because how do you defend the isolated pawn? Or at least infiltrate with a lot of pieces and get immense activity out of them. And then probably win the D pawn as well. And now you're up one or two pawns. You just barricade his passed pawn if he still defends it. You will have insane activity, and then you can push your passed pawn, and that's how you convert a equal position into a better position, into a winning position, into a win condition, into a one game. And that's always how chess works. So I really want to hammer that point in. That's very important that you understand. This is equal. You should just find the plan that has the most chance of leading to a better position. Then you have to find the best way to convert your better position into a winning position. Then you have to use your winning position to create a win condition. And then the win condition should win you the game. That's always how it works. Always. I mean, unless obviously your opponent just blunders a checkmate and won in the middle of the game, but even if that happens, you could argue that you need a darn great position for that. So he develops the bishop. I kick it so that if I castle, my king can always go to h7. And there are no sacrificing bishops for pawns here. You have to move, which just wastes a tempo because the bishop is not more useful on h4, but the pawn is way more useful on h6 with some air on h7. This is just a blunder. And it is a blunder because this knight defends my king well enough. This bishop supports the knight and is quite active. This knight is just controlling the center, and my insane queen on c2, defending weaknesses, gaining control over the semi-open file, having control over the diagonal. And with all of this activity, tactics will just emerge. And that's something I really want to show you. You should just activate pieces, have a nice pawn structure, and make your puzzles so that you can find these tactics because these tactics will emerge. This guy was like 1840 and blundered a one move threat to a very simple tactic. So I do find a great move. You do one of these things, probably he was like praying that I just returned, and then he got take, and queen check. Obviously, I take the bishop. You take, I develop. Apparently, developing the queen is stronger. Yeah, fair enough. I develop the queen with a threat on the bishop. The bishop has to move so that this is gone, and then I can develop my knight. And with a developed knight, I support the development of my bishop. That's fair. I didn't see how strong this was. I tag this, so you have to move. Now this pin is broken, so I can develop the knight, as I said. And now if you move the bishop again, I can activate my other bishop, for example. And now this knight is a beast, this queen is a beast, this bishop is a beast, and the only thing is that activating my rooks is quite annoying, and this bishop is quite strong. But I will probably just start a minority attack and use some open files for my rooks, and this should be a very, very easy game. I'm only up one pawn, so don't win it as if you're completely winning. This is still very, very losable. But I have so much more activity, an extra pawn, and a very clear plan. So yeah, I did really underestimate queen to c4. I don't even know if I thought about it. I don't think so. Yeah, so again, I don't see it. Now I do see it. It's still the best move. And he blunders something. Oh, I calculated this. So knight in, opening up with this. You have to do that. Probably I take and what now? Yeah, I calculated this, but that is defended. So you can just develop the knight, and I didn't see the point of it. Oh, you have to develop the knight, but I controlled this 2 times. Oh, I calculated this, and I didn't see that I defended 2 times. You just have to sack the knight to save your rook. And what if you do something like this? Just takes, and this rook is... Yeah, this rook is gone. And still you have to sack your knight and your rook. Wow. I underestimated that. And it's again like, how do you see this tactics? Well, obviously, these tactics will work in your favor because this knight is a beast, this queen is a beast. So your opponent should already be quite happy if he's not getting mated here, and he has to sack a knight to save a rook because he is very, very underdeveloped, and we are incredibly developed. So again, tactics work in our favor. I didn't see it, to be honest. So I did this. That's not a bad move. This is the best move, just activating a piece again. This is a good try, but again, I do see the tactics. Um, I can safely use all of my time on this, and a trap I fell for and still do is I watch Grandmaster games, and then just think out of intuition, oh, I would have played that. And then a grandmaster takes a half an hour to calculate it, and I'm like, bro, that's my first instinct. How did you calculate half an hour about that? Like, I would have played better in that position because I would have come to the same conclusion in less time. But that's not how it works. You should never think I find the same plan in less time, therefore it's better for me, because maybe you can see this in a second, but you didn't calculate all of the variations. You're not that safe. Maybe your opponent gets quite lucky in some variation, and he will use all of his time to find it. And that's why you really should use all of your time and trade your time for safety, basically, and never just think, oh, I find the same move in less time, therefore I would have done it better. It's not better if you find the same thing in less time. You are only just not calculating as much, not being as sure, not having the same understanding of the position, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. So here he takes, and I can just take with a check. You have to take back, and apparently this does work. I rejected this because I think knight in, and then your knight can move here with an attack on my queen and an attack on this. Apparently I can just take a queen, you can take my queen, and then I can take your knight defending this, and I have a checkmate apparently. I mean, not a checkmate, but... Oh, now I can take and that's defended. Oh, that's cute. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, so that's all very good. I underestimated this thing because your queen is still hanging. If I do that, so check, you move, and I have this move, your queen is hanging. And I mean, let's say it moves. You can do this, and then after you um oh, that's just mate. Yeah, okay. My bad. The rook shields the queen. Okay, so I could have used a bit more time here and I would probably have found a checkmate already. So probably I could have spent a bit more time here, but I'm still very, very winning. You do the most annoying move. I think that's quite a good move. Yeah, it's zero point 0.1 less, so it doesn't really matter, but it's practically very annoying. And here again, I can spend a lot of time to find the most practical or best move. The engine suggests to give a check, to then take the queen, and then take this. But I didn't really like the variations where I have to give up the knight and give up another pawn. Um, oh, we don't take back. Oh, that's a checkmating threat. Oh yeah, that's quite disgusting. We can give a check, you move. We now take the pawn back. And now you see again, we have the spin, so he will have to give up the rook. And I mean, his only plan is maybe to do this and get the knight here so that after takes you can take my rook, but that's too much time. So, and we do have a passed pawn. So we are up the exchange and the passed pawn. So this is easily winning. And you will probably have to give up your rook because this spin is way too strong. Um, so again, obviously very, very winning indeed. Um, Disgusting. I'm very glad I played this game this well. And we just take. And this is quite easy. You have to take back, as I said. And I was intending to take this because we have checks. And I didn't see the variations where you take my pawn. I only calculated this. I guess you can take the pawn and I take this pawn. And now you do have one win condition, but I'm up a free king rook. So I'll probably just put my king up, use my rook to stop your win condition, give a check if it's useful, try to activate my knight, maybe win this pawn if I can, so I have a passed pawn and a win condition. And if you're not careful, something like rook to c8, knight to b1, and rook to c1 is checkmate, by the way, if the bishop doesn't see it, to be fair. So yeah, you have to be very careful. And my opponent resigns. I only calculated takes and then I had takes. And I mean, what do you even try? Like, I can just stop you and you have nothing. The best move is just to give up a pawn for free. And to be fair, I don't have a win condition, but I'm up a rook and a pawn. So I can just move my king, get the rook to g8, get the rook to g2, maybe try to checkmate you. Otherwise, I will just win this pawn, probably maybe win that pawn if needed, and then just push my past f pawn and use that as a win condition and use the potential checkmating threats as extra pressure. So I hope that was very, very instructive. I think it really was. Subscribe if you learned anything, and I will see you in the next one.